It pays to be elite. Start your negotiations. Set the dollar amount wanted. That is what the On3 Elite tweet yesterday at, let's see, 3:13 p.m. said, talking about getting high school athletes to sign up, and maybe even transfer portal athletes to sign up for a service from On3 that will allow schools to see your NIL amount before you even begin to engage with certain schools. Now, certainly that's going to put a number out there. Certainly that's going to set the market, if you will. But right off the bat, there are several red flags with this. And quite frankly, I think the whole thing is gross. On3 is supposed to be a recruiting service, much like 24/7, much like Rivals, but quickly that has morphed into now it's some kind of conglomerate where it's part media that's supposed to have journalistic integrity. It's part recruiting coverage. And then also it is part of this data NIL pushing organization that seems to me to have a total conflict of interest every single place that you look. Hello, everyone. I'm Blaine Gilmer. Welcome in to SEC Unfiltered, the best SEC entity on the internet. I am here to talk about On3 and talk about this world of NIL that we are in, because we talk about all things SEC. We talk about all things college football. And this is going to be a big part of it going forward when it comes to NIL, when it comes to the transfer portal, all these kind of things. But specifically, we have to talk about this conflict of interest between On3 and this On3 Elite series and things of that nature. Listen, the series, the event, that's fine. Educate young men, that's great. Bring in speakers, all that kind of stuff, fantastic. But when you start to become a middleman, a peddler of information from these athletes to the schools, then you totally undercut everything on your media and journalistic side of your business. You have now become something that none of those team sites, none of those fan sites aspire to be. And we're going to get into that here in just a minute. Listen, at worst, you're taking a cut of this because there is no such thing as a free lunch. So the worst case scenario is that somehow if they set up a NIL negotiation or deal, On3 gets a cut of it, then that would be the worst case scenario for these young athletes. At best, you're undercutting, like I said, your journalistic integrity, your evaluative integrity, because there is also one of the biggest parts of any recruiting service, whether it was back in the day, Scout, Rivals, 24/7, whatever, is the rankings, correct? And these rankings are really kind of earned over going to these camps and going to different things and stuff like this, and different evaluators look and are supposed to arrange star values and numbers and things of this nature. But when you add this element to it, where it's a service to say, hey, if you're an elite person, if you're the lead of the elite, then you need to sign up and let schools know your dollar amount in this app that we control, so that you'll be able to let them know early on. And do you think that there's going to be any bias? It's going to be totally just absolutely down the middle, no favoritism, nothing for a person over here that is a high 4-star versus a person over here that's supposed to be a high 4-star. And one signs up for this NIL Elite app through On3 and uses them for their negotiations and things like that, initiation, and this person doesn't. Are we really supposed to believe that there's not going to be any favoritism or bias shown? in the rankings, things of that nature towards these two. And there are parents out there that are convinced that these rankings are ultra important, that they matter in terms of being able to negotiate value for their sons and daughters and things of that nature. It's truly, truly sad. And there is a line in the tweet when you look at the picture on it is a picture of a cell phone, and it says, "Your amount is private and can only be seen by schools." Well, that's all fine and good in terms of, yes, it may be locked towards the public. They may not be able to go in and see the number that little Johnny over here is asking for from schools. However, you better be signing a NDA. You better make On3. If you are a parent or you're a player or you're a mentor or whoever is signed to using this service, you better make On3 sign a non-disclosure agreement, because somebody is over there in charge of the back end of that data, and somebody is going to have access to the number that you're putting in there, the schools that are accessing this information. It's not just like you put it in there and it's totally secure. No. This is there is going to be an element of people knowing your business, people knowing what you're putting out as your value and things of that nature. And it's just there's nothing good that can come from that. On3 is supposed to be covering, highlighting, evaluating these athletes non-biasedly, okay? Not digitally pimping them out, all right? Do not, if you are a athlete or you are a parent of an athlete that is thinking about this service, do not allow your child and their talents to be prostituted out and allow your reputation, their reputation, to be tarnished, because I have spoken to college head coaches, to college assistant coaches, and I can tell you that this type of using this negotiation is not going to be looked upon kindly. It is going to make you look like a big me guy, if you will, and that is not what you want going into this college space. In fact, some colleges and some coaches avoid those type of guys altogether, regardless of the talent. And by the way, as a high school athlete, no matter how dominant you have been, you have not done anything yet, especially at the college level, okay? Listen, high school is one thing, but not every single high school environment is created equal. It could be weak competition that you've dominated against. It can be kids that are not on the same level in terms of maturity level, in terms of nutrition, in terms of strength and conditioning, all this kind of stuff. The good Lord has blessed you with a tremendous amount of talent and has blessed you with wonderful opportunities that you need to pursue with humility, wisdom, and discernment. Listen, I want every single young man and woman to make as much money as they possibly can based off of their talents. Go make all the paper that you can, but don't paint yourself into a corner and prevent yourself from being recruited or ultimately going to a school or to a coach that can really develop you in multiple ways, simply because they cannot accommodate some arbitrary and likely inflated number that you are placing out there on your value for your services at the next level. That is a terrible, terrible decision, and something that I think that you have to think deeply and very, very hard about, because you're going to go in and make demands and say, this is what I need to be a part of your program, before you've put one drop of sweat, blood, and tears into helping that program win. That is not how you ingratiate yourself. That is not how you do business in the real world. Go look at the NFL, guys. The rookies don't get to come in and say, hey, this is how much I want. No, it is a collectively bargained slot in part of a bigger structure of a salary cap. And after your original contract is up, then you hit free agency and you get to negotiate. Only when college football and the structure of it has some collective bargaining, and players are basically viewed as employees of these universities, and all this kind of stuff is worked out. Only then will players have guaranteed protections. But I promise you that using a service like this, like On3, is not the answer to getting things done, and not the answer for these athletes out here in terms of them being directly involved in your personal negotiations with schools. I'm not going to go in here and make demands. I'm not going to go in here and talk about what I deserve before I put a drop of sweat, blood, or tears into a program or into helping that program win. If you go in there, yes, there's a certain number that every high profile athlete is going to get a close amount to and is going to be taken care of. I don't care what school you're at. But the rest of it will come based on how you perform and how you get in there and you interact with the fan base and the boosters and all this kind of stuff. You can earn every single dollar that you want out there, and it is available if you go about it and do it the right way. Good things come to those who wait, and the only thing that this On3 Elite app is doing is pushing a agenda of instant gratification, pushing an agenda of, hey, I've got to get mine now. I've got to make it all about me, saying I'm the most important thing in the universe going around, when really there's so much more to learning to be a good college athlete, to learn to be a good college teammate, and ultimately to making yourself into the best version of you. I disagree with everything about this On3 Elite app and marketplace and things of that nature. I think it's really disgusting. This has nothing to do with the On3 riders and things like that. They do a great job covering everything, and a lot of them, it's way above their pay grade. But guys, you have to ask, conflict of interest everywhere. Also, we'll let you know this, there's some very, very influential people who probably happen to live around where On3 is headquartered in Nashville that are part-time owners, silent owners in this company. Yet another conflict of interest when it comes to coverage of college football, exploitation of athletes, all this kind of stuff. I just think that people need to look really careful into this, and do not let your child or yourself be taken advantage of in this. Guys, I'm Blaine Gilmer. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next time to talk more college football, more NIL, more transfer portal, SEC, right here on the best SEC entity on the internet, SEC Unfiltered.